Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Evening, Trilla.
Right then. Oh, fucking hell, mate. I got to turn the volume down, bro. You're going to make me deaf. Fucking hell. Yeah, I always got my fucking volumes up on high.
Right.
Yeah. Go on then. So, what's your take on everything? Like, how's your week been so far, man?
Yeah, good, good. Your sound's better tonight, anyway.
What sounds better?
Your sound.
Oh, mate, because I've been using my headphones before, and
Right.
now I bought a new mic today.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, I saw it out. I mean, fucking earlier on, they were dissing me. Jordan and fucking Nixie was singing Alvin, Simon, Theodore. Do, do. They thought I sounded like a fucking chipmunk, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But yeah, what's been going on though? Yeah, what's been going on?
I've just been watching Luke's. He was playing back some stuff that happened on G, but apparently people, I don't know whether it was you or Vela, that's apparently saying that people are calling for the riots to start or whatever. But it's one of them who I'm not aware of anyone that's calling for it. Don't
Yeah,
know.
I think our stance was if it was a Muslim guy, right, that
Yeah.
ran them down, what do you think the reaction would have been then?
Yeah, it could well be. It could well be. People would look towards that, but it's one of them. Truly, you got to think. You know what I mean? Some time ago, it would have been presumed that it would be like the IRA, but them times are long gone, and since then, it's just been Islamic attack after Islamic attack, and so on. Do you know what I mean? We've had 29,000 attacks, Islamic attacks since 9/11. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, when we're talking about the IRA, and again, I got to look back into this. So this is top of my head, right? I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
they were doing stuff in the 90s, right, where it was public news, isn't it? Because I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty so definitely in the 80s,
80s,
90s,
90s,
yeah.
definitely.
Do you know what I mean? So then generally after that is 2001, right?
Yeah,
2001 being, the Twin Towers, right?
yeah,
Now, and now all of a sudden, the Muslims are getting all the attention. And the IRA, and like, who are the IRA? Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's it. That's it. That's what I mean. Because there's so many. No matter what goes on, people are automatically assume before there's any evidence out or anything. People just assume straight away
But
it's an
before
Islamic
that,
attack because there's been
but
so many.
but yeah, but that's what I mean. Before 9/11, there were nobody fucking blinked an eye. Like anyway, like most people, because the mainstream media weren't reporting anything about the Muslims or terrorists like that were from,
Well, that's what I
X, Y,
mean.
Z countries.
That's what I mean. If you rewind to the 80s and 90s, it was the IRA that was doing it, and you would be right to assume when a bomb goes off that it was probably the IRA. That don't make you racist. It don't make you. Do you know what I mean? Any of these labels that people are talking about, does it? If it
No,
keeps happening by the same group of people, no matter what colour they are or what ideology they're running with, you're going to expect what you've seen many of in the past, aren't you?
but then generally, like, so I made the point on Velis, right? Like where, we only had certain amount of information coming out on, and we only had certain ways of obtaining it. That was literally watching, BBC News
Yeah,
generally,
yeah,
right? And just basically picking up a newspaper,
yeah,
right? That's all we had.
yeah,
So generally, like we wouldn't know any better outside of that. Now we got no excuse. We got literally, we got independent media. We
yeah,
got lots of different fucking, streams of media coming in from lots of different, like servers like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Facebook or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever. Yeah. There's so
yeah,
many. You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
we got no excuse now, do you know what I mean? To basically like lots of different people are talking about stuff now. So
Yeah.
it's not like before where we're just force fed information and having to believe it or not.
Yeah, that's it. He was given a narrative before, and now there's that many people with phones, like you say, all these different ways of people visibly seeing it with their own eyes and showing you what they've seen. It's, you know what I mean? People can draw their own conclusions now, but as a whole, that is just normal behaviour to expect when something goes bang or something goes fucking horribly wrong. That it is, you know, an Islamic attack because we've had so many. You know, that's a normal response, isn't it?
I mean, you say so many. I mean, I can remember the train, the thing that happened at the train station, right?
Yeah.
What do they call it, 7-Eleven or something, or what was that? 11-7?
The one in
I don't know.
Scotland.
No, there was one in England, in London.
Oh, 7-7.
Yeah, 7-7. That's it.
Yeah,
So 7-7, and there was a guy with a knife on a bridge.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there was that guy. There was obviously the army guy who got decapitated. You
yeah.
know,
He was there.
yeah, that was 3. The Manchester attack, 4.
Yeah,
Which is fucking really horrific. There've
yeah,
been a couple that haven't actually gone off that I read about, like a guy basically went with a bomb and he was sitting outside a hospital, so he was going to bomb a hospital,
yeah.
right?
That was Liverpool again, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he basically got talked out of it, right? Because he was sitting there out on a bench, and he was like, he had a homemade device with a freaking, is it like a this kind of like oven thing, like where you can portable oven kind of well, I don't know what it is, yeah. But
Yeah,
like he basically had some portable device where he was gonna blow up the hospital, and he had
yeah,
second thoughts in it. So he sat down contemplating, and somebody just kind of talked to him. They were
yeah.
like, "You're right, mate," and this went with it, and this sort of like, yeah, he just changed his mind. But that could have been another one,
I
you know.
actually meant the Liverpool one where the attacker turned up in a taxi and the guy in the taxi driver clocked onto what he was doing and locked him in the taxi, and he
Oh.
detonated himself in the taxi, didn't he?
No, I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear
That was
about
at
that.
the baby unit in Liverpool. That's what I mean. For them to react the way they have, it's
Mm,
perfectly understandable that way, even that long ago.
mm. I mean, in comparison to how many Muslims there are in this country to the attacks, that we're talking about, I
Yeah,
feel like literally we got like a handful in terms of what we just talked about right now, right? You know what I mean? Compared to how many Muslims there are. Like, so do you think it's something to worry about? I mean, it's probably like we probably should be more concerned about little
well,
kids fucking stabbing us, right? Like,
that's like saying Tesco is selling juicy red apples, and for every 100 you might have one, maybe two, maybe three, four, five that are poisonous and will kill you. How
right.
many? At what point do you go, right? We need to address this problem because these apples are killing people. You
No,
can't
but
just
that's it.
ignore it, can you? And just think, oh well, it's
No,
only a
no,
few.
no, no one
95
said.
didn't get killed.
Yeah, I'm not saying ignore it, right? All I'm saying is it's literally like, in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, I mean, it is literally just, I mean, like you could say random or, like it's a tiny problem. Like more people are dying from all sorts of different ailments, I mean, as opposed to this kind of stuff, right? And
Yeah,
there
at
are
this
more
moment
there
in
are more
time.
threats, and there are more threats, right, out there that need to be resolved in terms of like, let's just say, like look at London knife crime, for example, where you got, youngsters, that are teenagers that are you're probably more likely to get stabbed by than a terrorist, for example, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's one of them. If it if it's gathering momentum and getting worse, or you know, you have to deal with it, don't you? If it was receding back, and it was becoming a minuscule problem, yeah, fair enough. But it's not. It's getting worse. They're getting more emboldened. The attacks and whatever. The amount that are foiled is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I watched a fucking like a documentary years ago about
Mm,
them foiling like some Islamic attacks, that
Yeah,
people were kind of like, so they're saying basically like, they foiled a lot of attacks, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was 64 failed this year, weren't there?
This year?
Yeah,
Wow.
this is what I mean.
Whoa.
Well, in the last 12 months, sorry. So you know, but that's quite a lot. It's one of them. They only have to get lucky once. You know, the government, the counter-terrorism or whatever, they have to be lucky every single time, or some people die.
Mm.
That's
I
then.
hear you. I hear you. No, I hear you. But like I said, I mean, again, when it comes down to it, it's still, I think, should still be like a thing where, like, okay, cool, this is a problem, yeah, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't be. It should be addressed. It should, like, it's not like it should just go, like surpassed, right, where people just overlook it, you know. But I'm just saying, like, it should also not be overplayed. It shouldn't be downplayed, but it shouldn't be overplayed where people are thinking that, oh, we all have to be scared. I mean, like Muslims are a problem in this country. I don't think that's the case at all. If you look at,
Well, if you go back in time, the government used to put out adverts and everything, warning you, looking, to for the public to be on the lookout for certain things, anything suspicious, report it, blah blah blah, and it was all aimed at Islamic extremism. And now they've done like a bit of a U-turn. If you made a report now, they'd probably put you on a fucking prevent list or something
but
because you
but a lot,
reported something. It's mad.
but a lot of that probably weren't fair in terms of, like, I mean, people are probably being reported for just like praying. You know what I mean? Like literally, they would just pray, and then you get some Karen, or whatever, somebody who just went out there and just be like, well, you're doing something that's odd. I'm going
Well,
to
as an
report you.
example, so the Manchester Arena, there was a
Yeah,
woman that was in there and whatever, and she'd said to the security, "That guy's acting dodgy or whatever. What the fuck has he got that big bag, big backpack for a start or whatever? He looks
yeah.
dodgy as fuck. He's not with any kids or anything. He stands out like a sore thumb." And the security said to her, "You're being racist. If you carry on, we'll have to remove you."
You know,
Do you know what
that's
I mean?
crazy.
So they
That's
could have
crazy.
they could have acted on it if they'd have
Yeah.
dealt with it. People
Like,
wouldn't
dude,
have died.
I've done security for 20 years, right?
Yeah,
And 100%, if you can't, like, do your job properly, I
yeah,
mean, you've obviously failed your job. Like, you're there to prevent, what I mean?
yeah,
And,
exactly.
you're there as a deterrent. So clearly the security have blatantly failed at their job, what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, since
So,
2011, it was deemed racist and Islamophobic to have the training component that the counter-terrorism from America to here and whatever. They had like so many components, and that component was removed that was dealing with how to look at terrorism through the eyes of a jihadi, what inspires them, all these main things that you would need to know as an agent of whatever. You would need to know all these things, and that has been removed since 2011. To me, that's mad. If you can't identify the problem, how are you going to possibly deal with the problem?
I hear you. I hear you. Den, you got a question from the chat from Jordan M. He's asking you, do you condemn the misinformation and rioting after Southport?
The misinformation from the Pakistani guy from Pakistan, yeah, I condemn it, I suppose. Yeah.
What do you mean? Could you elaborate? The
That's where the
Pakistani guy from Pakistan.
misinformation came from, wasn't it? A guy in Pakistan.
Okay, could you elaborate a little bit further? So what was it? What was the misinformation? Because
I think a name was put about and all this, whatever, and he was saying he's a Islamic extremist, this, that, and the other. It was pushed
okay,
all around the internet. I think that's what started everything off, really.
okay, well, wasn't it like the misinformation? I think he's probably referring to that the attacker was a Muslim, right? Where he was actually a Christian. Wasn't that the misinformation? You think?
I don't think so, no. I mean, it's one of them. Jordan M was a Christian at one point. Now look at him.
But was it?
So
Was it?
what somebody was when they was a child doesn't mean shit when they're older, does it?
But
Anyone can be
right,
brainwashed.
right. But do you think that he was a Muslim, or do you think what? Or do you think?
I believe that he's got extremist views, whether it be, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that has not come out on his dad. There's a lot of dodgy stuff around that. It's one of them. The apple don't really fall far from the tree, does it? If his dad's,
when is dad a priest?
as far as I know, his dad was some sort of, I don't even know how to explain it, but he was in his own country. He had like a lot going on there, which seemed to be, I'd say, extreme views by the sounds of it all. Now, if that's rubbed off onto the kid to the point where because you got to think he'd been reported to prevent, I think it was 3 times or whatever before it happened. So there's 3 times that they could have prevented it happening. Prevent are just shit, obviously, because they keep letting these things happen. You just go, oh, we'll whack them on a list. That list doesn't do anything but cost us money. It doesn't prevent anything, does it?
Oh, if they're not preventing, of course, they ain't doing anything.
And then you've got the other side of things where they go, oh, well, we have to show that we're being even. So we'll get people which we determine to be right wing. One of them included an 11-year-old boy who said Islam is a death cult. What did he say now? He said it in school. Islam's a death cult. It was basically something factual. It weren't being racist. It weren't being.
You say Islam's a death coat?
Yeah,
or,
yeah. Death cult.
Like a jacket. What?
Cult. C-U-L-T. Cult.
Cult. Oh, got you. Okay.
Which it is. Do you know what I mean? You can't look at it and say that it's not. In every aspect, it is. Muhammad said himself he was made victorious through terrorism. That should tell you all you need to know. You read the Quran, most of it comes across as a war manual, not a holy book.
I mean, have you read the most of the Quran?
I've read it, yeah. I've been to over 100 mosques, mate. I've gone with a video car and everything. Believe it. They've not tried to stab me in the face for nothing. I only speak on the truth, though. It is what it is.
Well,
I use their own literature against them.
So, firstly, I've never been to a mosque in my life, right? I mean, I've been meaning to go. I really have been. I just haven't been anyway. But
I was invited by the security at Didsbury Mosque. He went, oh, they're not all whatever. I'll take you to a few. So I've took advantage of that. Do you know what I mean? And I've been introduced to many.
But
and they're not all bad. I'm not going to say they are. They're not all bad. You can tell by even the way the women dress. Some are full ninja or whatever, and some are just, proper laid back with it or whatever. They are very different.
Yeah, we used to say that when we were young. When we were like probably teenagers, we might use the word ninja. Like,
you have to do with kids and that. Yeah, you have to do with kids and that. You don't want them getting scared thinking.
No, but when we were kids, we might, use that word. But now I think it's kind of a little bit disrespectful now.
No,
like, I think
to me it's like when I see them wearing stuff like that, I see it as, and the men that wear the dresses and whatever, I see it as no different than seeing a Nazi walk down the street with full uniform. It's exactly the same. If you read both ideologies, there's very little difference.
And
that's why they get on. That's why they get on. If you think about it, the common ground is they both hate Jews. That's the common ground.
I don't know, but then if you look at history, I mean, the Muslims basically, gave refuge to the Jewish people when the Christians were butchering them.
Yeah, they also was the highest ranking SS officers that was Nazis. So
I mean, this is well before that, right? So hundreds of years ago.
You're always going to have some decent people in every community, and you're always going to have some bad people in every community. That's just standard, isn't it?
But then why are we going by the bad examples and not the good examples?
No, but we can't just look at all the good stuff and ignore the bad. That'd be stupid, wouldn't it? You have to stand back, look at the whole picture, and see it all for what it is, don't you?
Of course, but I think modern day narrative is always like looking at the bad as opposed to the good. It does overshadow like all the good stuff that Muslims do and who they are, and do you know what I mean? Like, again, like majority of the Muslims, like there's 2 billion Muslims around the world, right? So like if there were troublesome, like as in like in the majority or anywhere close to that, like we'd all be fucked.
Would you say would you say though that the good Muslims are rewarded for that or attacked for it?
See, again, so I grew up, right, with around lots of different people, by the way, right?
Yeah,
Christians, Muslims,
yeah,
Sikhs,
same here.
Hindus, right? So
Yeah,
like again, I grew up in Southall, so
mm,
we had, the least amount of people we saw were white English,
yeah,
people, right? Like just in that town, by the way, like you literally go to Hanwell, for example,
yeah,
you got loads of white people. This is the next town, which is just
yeah,
like 2 minutes away, right? You know
yeah,
what I mean? So basically, down the road, got tons of white people. Like we're surrounded by loads of different communities and cultures, right?
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? So like when it come down to like we just grew up like getting along with each other in it generally in it, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, you're gonna get a few shitheads back, like acting the arse, acting like a racist cunt here and there from every community, by the way.
yeah,
Every
yeah.
community. So like but generally, dude, like again, this whole like integration and multiculturalism thing has always been a new, thing, especially
Mhm.
obviously like, and our country has endorsed it and backed it more than any other country like in the world. I think Canada's quite close, but we're a smaller country and we got a closer proximity in it,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
they're quite spread out. You get me? So it's a little bit different in that regard. But I think generally, dude, it's worked. I mean, would you want to live in a country where, it's just one community of people, like
Well,
ethnically, or would you want something more diverse and mixed?
look at the way that Candid with Lubna is treated. I'd class her as a grade A top patriot who happens to be Muslim. The way she was attacked just tells you all you need to know because she was only ever calling out the bad apple. She's never said all of anybody. No, she's always said there is great Muslims. She's had loads on there. They've all had good
Dude,
things to say.
I'm not even Muslim, yeah. And I look at her. I've spoken to her. I've been on a live stream, right? I put my
Yeah,
camera on. I was sitting in my car. We had a chat, right?
yeah,
And like it was only I was on my lunch break in it, so it weren't
yeah.
it weren't long. But I showed it on a Bleeding Hearts channel when a
Hmm.
few months ago. But like anyway, freaking yeah, we had a chat, but I was being respectful because I'm on a panel and I don't want to get thrown off, right?
Yeah,
But generally speaking, I don't rate her, bro. Like she's not, like your common kind of like, English British person. You know what I mean? She's part of the few people that are part of this sort of far right movement or, right wing movement, you could say respectfully. And, that just basically, believe that, certain communities are more problematic than others. And I just don't believe that.
but the statistics show you that, Trilla. I
I
mean,
personally don't see it.
eight,
Yeah.
82, I think it's gone up to 84, but 82% of grooming that was committed on street was committed by Muslims. That's fact. Mm. These are
So
going off convictions.
like how people talk about, I'll talk about something personal, yeah. So like, how some people talk about like Pakistanis, right? Pakistanis, right? So
Yeah,
on and so forth, right? So like I know a few Pakistani guys, right? And they're really good people.
yeah,
One person, by the way, right? My one of my ex-girlfriends, like she's a little bit older than me, so she's in her 40s, right?
hmm,
And she's going out with a Pakistani guy. She's a Christian, by the way, right?
yeah,
She's a Punjabi Christian, right?
yeah,
So she I thought she was Sikh, you know what I mean? And she basically understands everything about Sikh religion. Her ex-boyfriend was a Sikh guy. They're
yeah,
generally not allowed to date Muslims, isn't it? Like her being a Christian, her
yeah,
family then like kind of opposed to Muslims, and she's from up north anyway, so they
yeah,
got this little bit of a feud, didn't it? Like the Northerners, when it comes to certain communities, between like a bit of a friction between Muslim communities and Sikh and Christian communities and so on, right? And she ended up going out and having kids with a after going out with me, a Pakistani Christian guy. So this guy is a Pakistani, yeah,
yeah,
but he's Christian, so she's Christian, so
yeah,
it made sense, didn't it? Like she liked
yeah,
him, they liked each other. They've got like 3 kids now. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so, you know, there's a cultural element there that I'm trying to describe outside of the religious one, right? Like, I don't think from the way she described him to be quite religious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the cultural aspect, I could probably presume that to be more powerful, isn't it? Like the food that you eat, the way you conduct yourself, and
See, I
so
don't
on.
see it as a culture thing. I see it as a ideology thing. I mean, them two have got the same ideology, so they're gonna, they're compatible. Mm.
You're gonna get some Muslims, dude, that literally are gonna be brainwashed to believe that what they know and who they are by default, by believing in something, you're like all of a sudden better than somebody else, right? But at the same time, you can get somebody who doesn't believe in a religion at all that will believe that. And then you're going to get other people from other religions that believe the same thing. Like Christians believe, if you're going by Christianity and not by, this washed up version, right? Like modern day,
Yeah.
like, they generally believe that if you're not a Christian, you're going to hell. If you don't believe in what we believe in, you're going to hell. Jews the same,
Yeah, but that's why it's
Muslims
had
the
a
same.
reformation on it.
Huh?
That's why it's had a reformation. It's all been remade on it.
It might be, but then at the same
That's what
time,
Islam needs, but will never have because
yeah,
it's
but that,
perfect, isn't it?
but no,
They're
but
the best of peoples. That book's perfect. You can't improve upon perfect.
you
That's the
say that
problem.
you say that, right? But then if you said you've been to 100 mosques, right?
More, but yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. So like I've not been to one. And the
Yeah,
people that I speak to, look, dude, I'm gonna meet some dickheads, yeah, that are from, what I mean, like, that are Muslims, right? And
yeah,
I'm gonna meet dickheads in every community, do you know what I mean, right? But
yeah.
like when it comes down to it, you don't go by the bad apples, you go by the good ones, you get me? It's like even my
No,
dad said,
you
innit?
got
You
to go
like,
by both. That's what I was saying before. You have to weigh it up. You can't just count all
yeah,
the good ones and
yeah,
tick all them boxes.
right, right.
You got to.
But you're not wrong, but if
Yeah,
the majority are good people, right, and there are a
yeah.
few bad people, you're gonna go by the good ones. You get me? That's my point. Like you're not gonna go by the bad ones. You get me? There are always bad apples. What do they say about the bad apples? Isn't it? They basically, it ruins the lot. Do you know what I mean? It gives a,
Well,
it
let's
ruins
say
the
it's
whole thing.
1% then. Let's say it's 1% of Muslims might be extremists. That's 16 million people, possibly
Uh,
18 million people that want to cut up your kid,
Okay,
blow up your
okay,
kids, rape
okay,
your kids.
okay, cool. So if we're gonna go with numbers and statistics, right? If you look at the real figures as to how many people are actual, what I mean, problematic in terms of like terrorism and so on, right? You're
Yeah.
literally looking at 0.00000.1%. That's your actual number, not 1%, right? You're looking
Yeah.
at literally that number. That's a more realistic number. Now you're looking at about 10 to 20,000 people across the world. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like in general, like people that are like not in probably war torn, what I mean, like places, or maybe you can add them in that number. But all I'm saying is like the numbers are not, what I mean, like what people are trying to fearmonger, like we got to be careful not to manipulate numbers to just scare people. Like you could say 1% is 16 million. That's scaremongering. Like, do you think there are 16 million people? Like, there aren't 16 million Muslims in this country, right?
No, that's
There's probably,
worldwide, isn't it? The 16 billion, what is it, 16 billion, isn't it? 1.6 billion.
yeah, 1.6, round it off. Let's just say two for argument's sake. You get me? Like, let's just say 2 billion people. Yeah, why not?
That's
You
a
know what I
lot of
mean?
people that want to, commit acts of terror on people that are not part of that cult.
Mm.
That's a big problem, isn't it?
But the
Considering they
thing
can
is,
just get in a boat and come wash up on your beaches. You don't know the intentions of these people. They're
right.
unchecked. They're illegal from the first action they've made by coming here illegally. What's the chances that they're not going to have criminal intent?
Well, if you go by again, like what the majority of Muslims are doing in this country, they're out here working, honestly, and trying to basically, be good,
Some are,
civilians.
yeah, some are. but some are not.
I think the majority are the vast majority.
Not the
Not
ones in all the hotels and that is literally all over the country, all over Ireland, all over
those
Scotland.
ones, yeah, but those ones, I mean, that's an easy argument for me to fucking, throw back at you because they don't have a choice but to be in those living conditions.
Well,
They
they
have no
do.
choice. Not, they don't. They
They could,
literally come to this country to try and claim asylum, which they have a right to do legally, right?
yeah.
And how we choose to house them, that's up to us. That's up to our government that
Yeah,
we
but it's us
elect.
that got to pay the bill, and it's not the government. The government have got no money. They don't
Yeah,
own
but
money.
the bill is minuscule in terms of like where the money is going everywhere else and where we're trying to get money from, right? For
The
other
money's not
things like
minuscule. I don't know if you know how much it costs, but it's costing us ridiculous amounts of money every
it,
single day.
it's a drop in the ocean compared to what the government spend annually. And
Well,
when you look at hold on one second. When you look
mm,
at right, I want to ask you a genuine question, right?
yeah,
Like I'm actually very interested in what you got to say about this, right? So I believe that it's actually, this whole immigration thing is actually a deterrent to try to basically, I don't know, turn your eyes away from trying to actually tax the elite, and tax people, big business, and making it out like, this immigration is the biggest fucking problem out there, not, the elite that are just accumulating wealth on a fucking ridiculous stagnant amount.
yeah, I agree that side of things. But to me, it's the problems that these amount of numbers are. It's causing problems. The infrastructure is fucked because of it. People are
But
now on fucking 10-mile waiting lists for anything and everything. There's a shortage of
again, yeah,
housing, school.
I hear you, but I
Mm,
don't think immigrants are, again, they're not the cause of it, all right? Those things have always been an issue and they always will be. But when it comes down to basically, trying to, you take Elon Musk, for example, right? Elon Musk
mm,
all of a sudden had, made it a massive deal that immigrants are the problem, joining with Donald Trump's whole thing about getting rid of immigrants, right?
uh,
These guys are super rich, right? And these lot are talking about immigrants being a problem. They are a fucking problem, right? These are clearly trying to protect their wealth, you know what I mean? And protect other people's wealth, you know what I mean? In that same
well,
bracket.
if these
They
immigrants are good for the economy like people say they are, it would be in their benefit, wouldn't it? But they're not. That's the problem. Any
You're
money they
right.
do get here, when they can work, they send the money home to bring more of them over here. It's like, when's
But
enough, realistically?
who yeah, but
How many Uber,
realistically,
how many
who would
Uber Eats do we need, realistically? They're not doctors anymore, are
all
they?
right, but hold on. But end of the day, we need our cheap labor, right? For our to have cheaper services, we need cheap labor, right? In that
I'd
regard,
rather pay double, to be honest.
you might, if you can afford it, that'd be great. But generally speaking, I mean, who are you more likely to relate to? Somebody like an immigrant, right? Who's just come over here, right? And trying to basically earn ends meet, through minimum wage, or Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Who do you think you relate to more?
Well, it's
Billionaires, like
somewhere in the
fucking
middle, isn't it?
the
Somewhere in the middle.
richest, somewhere in the middle, dude.
Mm.
They are fucking worlds apart from most of the world. Like they are fucking living on a different
I
planet,
wouldn't. I
literally.
wouldn't go to another country. Certainly wouldn't just wash up on the shores and expect everything to a country that you already know doesn't like you, doesn't want you here,
Yeah,
has
but
rioted and tried to burn people in hotels because they don't like you that much. They can
you
see
know,
you create terrorism. They can see you creating fucking national debt in the country. The fucking rape gangs. The list goes on of things why we don't want them here. Why they keep coming here. If
if you
it's
put
such a
the shoe,
racist country, go somewhere else.
if you put the shoe on the other foot, right? If you were in the same predicament and
Uh,
you were seeking refuge, right, and trying to start a new life, what
uh,
would you want? You know what I mean? You would just want to at least try to have a fair opportunity. Like at the very least, you don't give a fuck about, the laws and everything else, right? You're looking at self-preservation. You're looking to basically survive, right? Survival is key. can you blame somebody for trying to survive?
Well, there's like 147 Asian countries. Why have they not gone to them? Why have they come here? I believe it's because we're giving so much free shit and let them get away with so much.
I don't think there's a lot of free shit, dude. I mean, you live in this country, right? This country is a bit of a fucking shithole, right? It's not fucking the best country in the world in terms of like, you know what I mean? It
It's
is a
better. It's a
paradise.
million times. It's a million times better than where they've come from. We all
Well,
know that.
bruv, if you don't have anything in this country, like, okay, you might get benefits. Well, what the fuck are you gonna do with benefits like £10 a day? You ain't
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
getting
but they're
much.
able to
You're
work
getting
as well,
far with that.
Trilla. The evidence has been out there for a good few months of
No,
people
no.
being caught coming out of their hotels and getting on an Uber bike and
Right,
going in
right,
earning
right,
500 quid
right.
a week.
Right, but that's illegal, right? So when it come down to it, them choosing to work illegally to try and earn a bit of money. I mean, would you not do the same then? If you had the opportunity, you're in literally.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be
I would
giving them
probably
the
do it.
opportunities, Trilla. We shouldn't be giving them the
No,
opportunity to
no,
do
you're
these
right.
things.
No, they should fucking fast track, yeah, these freaking claims for asylum and so on, right? And
Belly
literally
reckons he
get them
knows
done.
someone that's been on a list to be trying to get asylum for 11 years, I think he said. So the protocol, whatever, is not working, is it? It's obviously
Yeah, but
broken. So you can't keep letting people in
100%.
until him from 11 years ago has been sorted one way or the other. Why keep letting them in? It's pointless. It's broken.
No, 100%, bro. Like, it needs to get sorted out. Do you know what I mean? Like
I
that,
mean,
that's
places like
acceptable.
America and Australia, they'll let you in if you've got the right things, if you've got money behind you, if you've got something that they need. Maybe you're a truck driver or something and they need HGV drivers, or, there needs to be a reason for you to enter their country. They need to have a benefit from you, not you be a leech on their system, but we're just getting all the leeches.
All right. So like, all right then. So if you were from another country, right, would
Yeah.
you come to England?
If I,
Like
if I thought
literally.
that everybody didn't like me and thought I was a terrorist or a rapist, probably not, no. Probably not. I'll probably go
So like,
somewhere more suited
what?
to my own countries.
Why the fuck do you think they would want to come? Even like Becca, yeah, is saying here, bruh, if I was a refugee, I wouldn't pick England's shithole, laughing my ass off.
I wish they would all think like Becca and fuck off, honestly.
But England, like, I think they don't know any better. Like, honestly,
No, they
like, would
do.
they?
There's
Do you
been
really
there's
think
been
so?
glossy fucking magazines given out, and they've been invited. Angela Merkel invited 1 million, and then she was trying to pay them all to fuck off because she's realised what they're about. This is what I mean. They have been invited and invited by our governments. The government is the problem. Treasonous bunch of cunts inviting people that cannot stand us, hate every single thing about us, and want to just come here and change everything.
So our government is not inviting refugees to this
Yeah,
country. They're
yeah.
really not.
You think
They're really not.
how easy would it be for us to defend our own borders
Give
realistically,
me,
Trilla?
wait,
We've
hold
got
on, mate.
we've
Listen,
got the
you're
Navy, we've got the RNLI. These people are not going, oh, we found you in a fucking little shitty raft.
just because we're not
They don't take
deterring
them
them,
back. They bring them here. Why are
right?
you
So
bringing them here?
just because we're not deterring them by literally sending the troops out, right, doesn't mean we're fucking inviting them in either. Then, all right. So don't be silly. All right. I
No,
see
we
what you're trying
are.
to do
We
there.
are.
I see what you're trying to do. All
If we
right.
wasn't, we wouldn't put things in place to deal with them once they get here. The moment they get here, they're getting free money, putting hotels, they're facilitating it.
You say free
There's no
money,
way of not seeing that.
then that is basic charity. I mean, my God, we're offering
£100,
them
right? Let's take what?
£10 a day,
Let's take
less than
what?
£10 a day. By the way, that's not
Let's
even a
take.
pack of fags. Oh fuck's
Yeah,
sake!
that's fair enough. Let's take. Yeah, but you're just thinking it as if that's the only cost. It's not the only cost. So they're in a hotel. Let's say there's 100 rooms, like there is in the one 2 miles away from me now. 100 rooms, £100 a room, and they're in it constantly. And as quick as one's out, one's in. It's constantly fun. They're doing
Right?
that for 5-year
Yeah,
contracts.
yeah. But
That's
that's
costing us ridiculous
right.
money.
But
And
that's
at the
the
same
government.
time, we're saying to the old age pensioners, which have paid in for all that time and gone through wars and everything, oh, we can't afford to pay you your heating allowance. The Muslims are sat in nice warm hotels and whatever, eating 3 meals a day for free, but we can't afford to look after our own. What are we doing? What are we actually doing?
When it comes to free meals, I mean, there are lots of different places where you can get a free meal, right? Especially, today and, for quite a few years, by the way. Yeah, but when it comes to actually people, getting basic charity, like, look, the whole thing about the government, that the Tories were, basically doing all of this hotel stuff and everything else. Yeah, they were
Mm.
the kind of first ones to do it. Obviously, they're making a freaking penny for themselves, right? In this whole shenanigan, you get me? Like
Yeah.
this whole thing, they were the ones, and like the Tories, by the way, were the closest to the right. When it comes down to your politics, unless you go further right in Farage territory and even further into other territory, right? But they're the closest mainstream party, but even that's proven to be corrupt. You get me? So they took advantage of the whole immigration thing, and they used immigration, by the way, to distract you from the fact that they're just lining their own pockets.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, if people look back, you can go and research it yourself or whatever. Gordon Bowden did a lot of good work on it. This country has been asset stripped from within years ago. So it's one of them. This country doesn't actually have any money, but we constantly keep finding ways to spend money on people that are not even from here and cannot stand us.
I think this country has got plenty of money. Yeah, when it comes down to it, you just got
No,
to know how to. Yeah, this
we're in
country
debt.
got.
We're in massive debt. I
We
mean,
are in.
it's only recent that a massive debt's been paid off, hasn't it? We've been paying that debt off, us taxpayers, for fuck knows how long. Do you know what I mean?